I just got my little alert on my phone, which means we are live. And this is Ring the Bell podcast number 17. 17 episodes in. I'm here with my co host, Nathan. How are you, Nathan?
I'm fine, mate. How are you?
I am good, man. I am good. This episode's a little late this week. For that, we apologize. But there's a lot to cover. There was a lot of fights to watch. There's a lot of articles to read. And me and Nathan live in different time zones, so sometimes it can get a little bit shit for arranging arranging the podcast. But here we are now, and let's start with Inoue's destruction of Jamie Mcdonell because it was quick. Let's get it done quickly.
Brutal.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the kid is a monster, isn't he? Like,
Oh God, yeah.
I didn't think he was going to be able to pull that off. I thought it was going to be a close fight in which he won on points because obviously Jamie Mcdonell had 6-inch height advantage, 6-inch reach advantage. You never saw that coming. I mean, some people did, but I didn't. I thought Jamie was, going to keep him at bay with the jab for a few rounds at least. But wow. Have you got the stream playing there in the background?
I've turned it off.
I could hear that for a second.
I'm just watching to see what's going on.
Yeah, fair. Never did I expect Inoue to do that in one round. Very, very impressive, destructive. He moved up 2 weight classes. Well, 1 weight class. He moved up a weight class to do it. And it's very impressive work that. I think he will probably win that WBSS tournament.
He's got to be one of the favourites, hasn't he?
I think he probably is the favourite after that performance. Like, we've seen Tete knock guys out in a round, but they haven't knocked out. He's never knocked out someone of Jamie Mcdonell's caliber that quickly. It was because we've got to remember Jamie Mcdonell's no bum. He's had lots of top fights in that division. He is no mug, and Inoue made him look very, very bad. And he's not very, very bad. It's just that Inoue is very, very good.
It was, I tell you what, I couldn't believe what I was watching. I knew Inoue was good, but I didn't think he was that good.
He carries scary power for such a midget of a man, doesn't he?
I mean, is Mcdonell really, have we been, is he actually a world-class fighter? I know I shouldn't say that. That's a bit of a silly thing to ask. But is he?
He is, because of what he did to Kameda twice, what he did to Vargas. Yeah, I mean, he's had a lot of fights on BoxRec that are 4-star, 5-star.
So Inoue is just basically just a freak, basically.
He's still ranked in the top. He's number 11 now after that loss, but he's still. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's still near the top 10. So
he needs to move up now, doesn't he? Really, he can't stay that way anymore.
He does. Jamie Mcdonell. I think he lacks power because he drains himself to make that weight, and so he does need to move up 1 or 2 weight classes, in my opinion. He would still be.
He's got a world title in him. I still think he's got a world title.
Yeah, he can win a world title again. He would be the tallest guy in the next division above and the division above, so he can move up to wherever he wants. Really, it's no real shame to lose to someone like Inoue. I think his ideal weight was the one he was winning at. I think bantamweight was good for him, but I think if he moves up to super bantamweight, he'll be strong at that weight and very tall. I think nobody will be able to.
His brother fights at that weight, and he could beat the people that his brother lost to for the world title.
Probably. That's a good point. The guy that beat Gavin McDonald would be a great fight for Jamie, and people like to see those sort of brother vindication matches. Look at the Klitschko's.
Jamie's a different class to his brother, in my opinion. He really is.
He is. Jamie's world class. Even after that loss, I mean, people are going to laugh at me for saying it after the loss. He'll come back. He'll come back and fight at world level. Inoue's just a freak. He's a monster.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought.
And so what we will see, I think, is Jamie McDonell move up a weight class and fight at world title level. Gavin, He's a good fighter, but he is European level, really.
So I think people are misreading Inoue very wrongly. I think he's better than what people are giving credit for. From what I think he's going to wipe everyone out in that Super Series.
I still
You know,
worry about him versus Tete because Tete's 5'10", and
yeah, he's decent.
Tete is basically the same height as Jamie McDonell, but with more skills and power. And so you would think that Tete would give Inoue some trouble, but I thought Jamie McDonald would give Inoue some trouble. So what do I know? Yeah, it was a good fight though. People, if you haven't seen it, it's so short. People should go and catch it for sure.
I didn't like seeing us lose a world champion. It hurt to see that. You know what I mean? Because I like
McDonald. It does, but at the same time, you've got to give Jamie McDonald credit. He went out there, he didn't have any fear. He tried to fight the best and do the right thing. I got no hard feelings for him. He lost to the better guy. I think a lot of people are going to lose to Inoue.
Was Inoue the man? Wasn't the mandatory, was it?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. I believe it was a voluntary, but let's find out.
But then again, why did Eddie let him take this fight? Why would you fight? Risk it if you could have that title for another year.
Because Jamie wanted the fight. Jamie wanted the fight. This is the problem you've got to understand. Some of these fighters want to prove they are the best and fight the best. Whether or not they win, that's what they're in the sport for. And I believe Jamie McDonald, from what I understand, he doesn't even really follow boxing. He just wants to fight the best people in the sport. And so I don't think he knew what he was getting into, really.
So really, the truth is, if he wanted to, he said to Eddie, "Can you just set me up some fights?" He could have held that belt for another 2 years, couldn't he?
He could have done, but who would have wanted to watch it? It's boring. I'd much prefer, like, okay, he lost, but if he had gone out there and beat Inoue, it would have been great for British boxing history. We need people to try this sort of stuff. If there aren't people trying it, no one will ever succeed. And so
I suppose it's like Anthony Joshua going to America and fighting Wilder, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, you've got to do it, man. There's some things like Jamie McDonald's a warrior. He went out to Japan. He gave it his all. He lost to the better guy, but it shows he's got no fear. It shows he'll fight anyone.
It hurts his career, this loss, or not? Not really.
Not really. Not to lose. And what's going to happen is Inoue's going to go on and win a world title at probably super bantamweight, and maybe even one more weight class. And so Jamie McDonald will have lost to a multiple weight world champion who was just a bit of a freak. It's not really a big shame in that.
So Inoue is elite level and McDonald is world class.
I would say Jamie McDonald's low level world class, Inoue's high level elite, and that showed quickly.
Yeah,
but it was a good fight, and well, it wasn't a good fight, but it was a good event, and you know, well done to Inoue. He's in the World Boxing Super Series tournament, which I believe is going to be so good now. We've got all 4 champions in the bantamweight division, and that is Burnett, Tete, Inoue, Rodriguez. The guy who beat Paul Butler, I think, isn't it?
But you've got to say this, and you've got to be honest, that Burnett is probably the weakest out of all the champions, you'd say, wouldn't you? Looking at it now.
Well, he's the youngest as well. That's the
would you say he's a weak link in this tournament? You've got to be honest, haven't you?
I'd say he's the weakest of the 4 champions, but he's also the youngest of the 4 champions. And we don't
think
really
he's
know.
Ready for this?
We don't really. Oh no, he's not actually younger than Inoue. He's about the same age as Inoue, but he's still the least experienced of the champions.
Do you think he's ready for a tournament? Like, is there something that tells me he's not ready for this big stage?
Well, look, Emmanuel Rodriguez is 18-0 and he's 25, right? Ryan Burnett is 19-0 and he's 26. Inoue is 16-0 and he's 25. So they all got very similar experience, other than Tete, who's 27-3.
Whoever wins this tournament's got a bright future, and the losers can still win world titles again. You know, Burnett's still a good fighter. You know.
Oh, 100%, and they'll all probably move weight classes after this.
So what will happen is after this tournament, Inoue, Tete will probably both move up, and then it will just be Rodriguez and Burnett left.
Inoue probably won't yet because he's a small. He's going to be small at bantamweight anyway. I think Inoue will probably win the belts and defend them if he wins. But I mean, there's a bit of a fucking size discrepancy in this tournament. We've got Ryan Burnett, 5'4", Inoue, 5'5".
Yeah.
Emmanuel Rodriguez, 5'6". All of them are similar heights, and then you've got Tete, 5'9".
And then they were talking about Prince Patel entering this tournament. Oh, fuck off! Do you know what I mean?
I think he'll probably end up being some sort of injury reserve.
Reserve,
yeah. I don't mind that.
Shocking. Do you not find it shocking? We're talking about a guy that probably couldn't win a British title right now.
The problem is, my friends, is that there are some big top names at bantamweight, and then when you move down the list, it starts to get less and less impressive. Although, that being said, Prince Patel is nowhere near that list anyway.
Well,
so.
Mate, he's not even European level, is he? Let's say it. Be honest.
He has a European title, but yeah, that doesn't mean a lot, does it?
I think he'd struggle to win it. He's not even like in the top 5 British bantamweight.
I agree. Let's discuss Khalid Yafai's win over David Carmona.
Oh,
Did
good
you
win.
happen to see this fight?
Sorry, I'm just going to have to stop my Amazon Music.
No worry. So Yafai was deducted 1 point for hitting Carmona while he was down at 1 point. That was a real stupid move. Carmona also missed weight, and so he couldn't win the title. So there was a little bit of sort of...
Alexa, shut up.
There was a little bit sort of, a bit of shine lost off the fight because of those things. Obviously, Carmona got cut with an accidental headbutt, but Yafai put him down quite a lot. Round 1, round 4, and twice in round 5. And it ended up with Carmona not coming out before, I believe, round 8. Might have been round 7.
Round 7 it was.
Yeah. And so, got to give Yafai some props. He went over to America. He put on a great display. I think he will get a big fight against a big opponent on American TV.
You forgot to mention that he was buzzed a couple of times in that fight.
He was, but I think buzzed is okay. It's how you react to it, and he reacted to it very well. Didn't go down, clinched up well, dodged and rolled shots well when he was hurt. So, yeah, he did get buzzed a couple of times, but David Carmona is no mug. It's one of those things. He has some good wins, but he's also got some pretty shitty losses. Like he lost to Inoue when Inoue was 9-0. He's lost to most of the elite of the division, and so it's good that Yafai beat him. But I want to see. David Carmona has been suspended by the California Athletic State Commission until 2018.
Oh, because of a stoppage loss.
Yeah. But it's weird because he retired, so almost
still classed as a stoppage. They have to, seem to do their job.
Right. Fair enough. That's no big news then. That's no big news.
I feel sorry for Yafai in that division because that's such a action-packed division, isn't it? With the champion, it's a dangerous division.
Yeah, I think he can. I think there's some fights he can win at that division. I'd love to see him fight. Let's have a look at the rating. I'd love to see that fight. Absolutely would. Yeah, I think that would be a cracking fight.
Who are the other champions again? I forget who the other champions are. I should know.
I'm trying to get on the ratings, but BoxRec's having an absolute.
Let me have a look on current boxing champions. I'll go on that website now while we're here.
Fair enough.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, BoxRec's
having flyweight, isn't it?
Bitch fit. Yeah, it's super flyweight. Yeah.
Oh, dear. There's so many champions, my memory just it passes me by sometimes. There's so much to remember. Let me go to Coon. I've got it. I'm just going on it. Super flyweight now. Come on, you slow machine. So basically, you've got Soaring Versailles, Jerwin Canassis, who's a good fighter.
Yeah, Herwin and Kahas. Yeah.
And the WBO belt's vacant.
Yafai. No, the WBO's Inoue. Oh, he must have
No.
vacated it. Yeah, he must have vacated
Anyway,
right.
it's bantamweight, isn't it?
Yeah, he vacated. He must have done.
Confusing, isn't it?
Yeah, he must have done. You're right. Yeah, that seems about right. There's some great fights for him out there. Look, to be honest with you, I know people are going to get annoyed about this, but even the Charlie Edwards fight is a good British domestic fight. You got that Rousey Warren guy. You got Herwin and
Kahas. That'd be a great fight.
I think Yafai could beat Roman Gonzalez.
What you want? I would have thought so because Gonzalez is not what he was, is he? You know, he's not.
No, he's got 2 losses in a row to Rumbasai, so you think that he's on the slide. That McWilliams Arroyo, the guy who had a fight and he beat Carlos Cuadras, that's not a bad fight.
I see that.
There's some good fights out there for Yafai in that division, but I would love to see him unify against Rumbasai and Kahas. I think Kahas is a winnable fight for Yafai. Herwin and Kahas had a good win recently against Honus Sultan, but he didn't look that special. I think.
I switched off after round 8 because it was so one-sided. I switched off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he looked good, and Kahas, but he didn't look super special. And you'd think that I think Yafai probably stop him. So there's a title unification out there for him that'd be a good one. Hell, even a fight against Estrada, Juan Francisco Estrada, who just lost to Rumbasai in February. That'd be a good fight too. So yeah, that division's hotting up. You got a few guys on the periphery, and I wouldn't be sad to even, there's some big fights. Rousey Warren and Kahas Gonzalez. I think the Roman Gonzalez fight Eddie Hearn has already talked about, and so that would be interesting to see where they go.
Gonzalez, I don't think he'll want the fight. I think he'll want to warm up, get at least a win under his belt before he takes that fight. He'd be foolish to take that fight right now.
I agree, but it's not often that you get a world title shot off the back of 2 losses, and so he might take it. It's
money
one of those
would be
ones.
too good to turn down.
Maybe, especially because you'd imagine that Eddie would build that as a co-main event to a big pay-per-view. That's the sort of fight that is.
Would Gonzalez be worth him coming over here and fighting a stiff, just to get the crowd knowing who he is? The casuals knowing who he is and what he's about.
Maybe. Why does BoxRec say that he's been suspended by the California State Commission indefinitely? What?
Weird.
I'm going to read about that because that can't be right.
But looking at Chocolito's career, he is a four-weight division world champion, I believe.
He's still got a name. He has still got a name. Yeah. Eddie Hearn is talking about it 2 days ago on BoxingScene.com. Roman Gonzalez versus Yafai could be next, as Eddie Hearn. So that's the reason I mention it, because Eddie Hearn himself has said it's a possible fight. I think it's a good one. I think if he beats Gonzalez comfortably, then you could chuck him in there with any of the other champions and be pretty confident that he will do well. So I think it's a good one. Let's move swiftly on to some of the upcoming fights this weekend. Well, no, let's just very quickly touch on the fact that David Lemieux, he got a win against Karim Akur. Title's not on the line because Lemieux was heavy, so it wasn't for the WBC Francophone middleweight title or the WBC International middleweight title. And because Akur lost, the titles are now vacant. What a shit show. Yeah, so it was an easy unanimous decision win. Basically, a 12-0 for Lemieux. Lemieux did to Akur what Billy Joe Saunders did to Lemieux, basically. Not as stylishly, but you know what I mean. It was 12-0.
Did you see the fight? I didn't even get to see.
No, I saw bits and pieces of it, highlights.
Lemieux wasn't he a bit overweight?
Yeah, yeah, he did. He couldn't win the titles because he was overweight. So, yeah. And then obviously we already touched on the fact that Ancajas beat Jonas Sultan, very one-sided fight. And Kenshiro also had a win over Ganigan Lopez. That's quite a hard name to say. Kenshiro is not a bad little fighter. He's a light flyweight, 13 wins, no losses. He now has the WBC World Light Flyweight title. And yeah, he's an interesting one to follow. I quite like him. I didn't see the entire fight, but I caught the highlights of it. He knocked out Ganigan Lopez. Quite a good shot actually, and it was over. Basically, it was over quite quickly. So. Yeah, those were most of the big fights that happened last weekend. But now we've got some big fights to talk about coming up. Maybe not this weekend, but the weekend after. There's not a lot of boxing on Saturday the 2nd, but we're going to move straight to the 9th. And we're going to talk about, first of all, the British card. Terry Flanagan fights Maurice Hooker.
This is a good fight. I think it's a fight Flanagan will win.
I think he should win. Yeah. He's obviously moving up a weight. He wasn't very powerful at lightweight at 135. Maybe 140 will give him a bit more power, or maybe he just won't have enough power for the weight division at all. But we will see. I think he'll be good at the weight class. He fought at 135 for a long time. And on this same card, we've actually got a very interesting English middleweight fight. Mark Heffron, 26 years old, 19-0, is fighting Andrew Robinson, 33 years old, 21-3-1. And so it's kind of a good sort of, if Mark Heffron wins this, he'll probably be put into some bigger, harder fights sort of thing. Andrew Robinson's not a bad fighter. He's had some notable fights against the likes of Sam Sheedy, which he lost. Adam Jones, which he obviously... he actually got a draw with Adam Jones, weirdly enough. Frank Buglioni, which he lost. So we sort of know Andrew Robinson's that gatekeeper level to the middleweight division. And if Mark Heffron can beat him, that'll be interesting in my opinion. It's not a bad fight at all. So that's a good one on the card. Then we've also got James Metcalf, who is 17-0, and he's fighting Jorge Fortea for the WBC International Super Welterweight title. And it's quite a big step up for James Metcalf. I mean, he fought Damon Jones, who was 15-1. But before that, most of his wins were against pretty poor opposition. Guys that were 5-23, 9-23. So this Fortea guy is 16-1-1. And so it's quite, a guy with a winning record, a guy who's not coming here to lose, should be a good step up for James Metcalf. Then we got the two most important fights of the night, obviously. Tyson Fury versus Cephas Seferi.
Sure.
You don't sound excited, Nathan. What's wrong with you?
I want to. I think what's going to happen is Tyson will make it last longer than what it has to. I think he'll just get around and he'll make it.
100%. I agree. I'm going to share the screen because people need to see that Cephas Seferi is the second best boxer at cruiserweight in Albania out of two.
Dear.
He's number 2 of 2.
His brother is number 1.
Yeah.
That's his brother. Pathetic, isn't it?
He's the second best cruiserweight in Albania, but there's only 2 of them. So he's the worst cruiserweight in Albania.
It doesn't say much, does it?
It's really funny.
If you look at this guy's record, the only heavyweight he's ever fought was Manuel Char, and he got destroyed by Manuel Char, who Frank Warren describes as a world-class fighter. I had to laugh.
Oh, well, technically, Manuel Char is a world-class fighter.
Yeah, only just.
Yeah.
He's not really a champion, though, is he, really? No.
Well, I mean, he beat Ustinov, really. And so he has a title round his waist, and so he is the champion. I get what you're saying, but he technically is.
It's a joke. It's a joke. Joke of a title. I like Manuel Char, but it's not a real world title.
It was sort of manufactured out of nowhere. I agree with that.
It's a senior citizens title for has-beens.
And then, of course, there's another big fight on this card, which I'm looking forward to. Nathan Gorman, 12-0, is fighting big, sexy Sean Turner.
Well, he'll beat Sean Turner.
He should beat Sean Turner, but Sean Turner's 12-2.
He's not a bad fight.
Yeah, it's a good. You kind of have to say it's a bit of a step up for Nathan.
He beat Arnold the Cobra. The corner.
Right. And also, you've got the fact that Nathan Gorman's last fight was against a guy who was 4-1. So it's good to see him fighting a guy who's 12-2. It's a more winning record. It shows more experience. It should be a good little scrap, that. Even though I expect Nathan Gorman to win, Sean Turner will give him some rounds in there, for sure.
Do you get the feeling with Gorman that he's not developing the way he should? A little bit.
I feel like he shouldn't have signed for Frank Warren because Frank Warren already had Dubois, and Nathan Gorman was always going to be number 2 to Dubois.
So what do you think should happen to Gorman now he's number 3?
Well, if he beats Sean Turner, he should look to probably, if Fury drops the belt, he should look for the UK British title against Dubois. I'd say that's a great fight.
But it's so difficult to be a heavyweight in this country now, isn't it?
It is, especially because Nathan Gorman is not. He's got the sort of body type and physique that means he's not going to peak till his late 20s.
That's what I think.
Early 30s. And
what is he, 20 now?
23? Let me check.
He's 20 and he was 21. I don't know.
21. Wow. So young. So yeah, he's got a long way to go in the division, basically.
He's not going to be anything for another 5 years, is he? I think we've got to be honest about it.
Well, I think he can be European. I think they could put him in against Ajit Caballo in a year or 2.
But he kind of reminds me of a young Tyson Fury. It's going to take him many years before he gets to that.
100%. They've got to build him. They've got to change his body physique over the years. They've got to build him into the right shape.
Along at the wrong place at the wrong time, kind of, with what's going on.
I understand what you're saying. Like, he feels like he could miss out if he doesn't do it all now. But not really. I think heavyweight boxing is only going to keep growing. Like, we've got Dubois, we've got Joyce.
Why the hell is... I mean, the only I'll tell you what, if he was handled by Eddie Hearn, he'd be a British champion by now. That's what I believe.
Maybe, because after he beat Dominic Akinlade, I think he was in a really good position. for the British title, and then he fought some guy who was 4-5-1.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you look at Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois has really, he hasn't fought anybody better than Gorman, has he? Really, not really.
No, Gorman's got better wins. Akinlade, Saltby, David Howe, they're all quite good wins. And he had David Howe on his record early.
When you look
I know Daniel Dubois beat Howe as well.
Yeah, but how good is Dubois really? Because I think he's about 2-3 years away from really doing anything. 2 years away from doing anything like remarkable.
Well,
like
you've got to remember, Dubois 20, but he's
young.
He's different to Gorman in that his body type,
he's a knockout.
His physique is ready now. Gorman's not got his man strength yet. He's not physically matured into his body. Dubois has already. And so
with Dubois, you wouldn't put him in there with Joe Joyce now, would you? You wouldn't. You just wouldn't.
No, but I would push Dubois further quicker than I would push Gorman. Because of that knockout
because he's
power.
got those knockouts. But what happens once he gets to someone who pushes him to 8-9 rounds? What's going to happen? I've got my doubts.
The exact same thing that happened to Anthony Joshua will happen.
Is he that good? Is he going to be that good?
No. What's going to happen is he'll go 7, 8, 9 rounds, and people will question his stamina the same way they question Anthony Joshua's.
So, do you think we have another Joshua on our hands, or do you think we have another David Price? Because I don't think we got a Price. I think we got another Joshua, if handled correctly. I don't know.
I won't make a prediction because obviously you have Harrison and you have Price. I think he can definitely get to European level. I don't know how good he is yet to even claim world title level. When Anthony Joshua was 7-0, I wouldn't have predicted that he was going to win a world title either, because you just don't know.
With Joshua, we kind of knew because he was a gold medalist. He had a proven amateur.
We knew Joshua would get to world title level. We didn't know if he'd win it or not. That's the difference.
We didn't. We knew he would be a top contender.
I'm not even sure he'll get top contender because of how good the division is. He's got to go through much harder guys than Joshua had to go through. There's going to be Fury. There's going to be Gorman. There's going to be
they'll avoid all these
Tyson Fury.
But because of his age, he could go 7 years just building his career, and then he'd be in the right place at the right time. Do you see what I mean? And then he'll be just in the right place at the right time, I think. Because all these guys like Joshua will be long gone before he gets up to world title level, won't he? Realistically, if you want to be honest.
Not necessarily. We all would have thought that about Klitschko and Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
But
I can't sit here and say Joshua will be the champion in 5 years, because I think he'll get beaten by him. I seriously do.
I can't see who's going to beat him other than Wilder.
Or Fury. I mean,
maybe Fury.
Wilder.
Fury's a few fights away from that.
I expect a new guy's going to come along. I don't know who it's going to be. It might be somebody we never heard of before. That'll come along in 5 years now. So it's difficult, isn't it, to predict this heavyweight division. What level? I mean, Dubois would beat Sexton, wouldn't he?
Easily.
That's what I'm saying. So he could have been put in for a British title now.
But he's not 21.
Because you have this age restriction.
Yeah. He's going to beat Tom Little pretty badly as well.
Well, yeah. Is there any point to this fight? Really?
It's not a bad fight. Tom Little will give him rounds. But I think Tom Little will get knocked out round 4, round 5. He doesn't really train well for fights. He's got no stamina. He's not a terrible boxer. He's just got terrible application. Yeah, I think he gets beat.
Oh, dear. But he needs to be looking at fighting a Dave Allen type of person, or, some sort of a Lenmore Thomas, doesn't he? In his next fight, realistically.
To be fair, Tom Little is in the top 20 of British boxers at heavyweight. Yeah. And so it's not a bad fight.
Number 19? Who's number 19?
Alex Dickinson. I don't know who
Exactly.
who
Who's
that is.
18?
Number 18. Fabio Wardley.
Exactly. So
But
that kind of tells you.
he's 4-0. To be fair, he's a new
Yeah.
boxer from Ipswich. Oh, I like Ipswich. I
Oh,
hope he
right.
does well.
Yeah.
I like Ipswich. I spent a
I've
lot of
never
time
heard
there
of
in my
Crawford.
youth.
Go
No,
down
no, I
again.
mean, yeah.
Let me have a look. So 10 Alex Dickinson there. But Bill Hodgson, I've never heard of him. Cash Ali, I've heard of him.
Ian
Then you got Nick
Millivan.
Webb. So couldn't he fight someone like a Nick Webb next? You know, someone a bit better.
I think he should. Yeah, I think Gary Cornish, Nick Webb,
or even Nick Webb. That would be a hell of a fight.
they're great fights. They're great fights. I wouldn't
But
say
Nick
they're bad
Webb is
fights at
20
all.
years old now, yeah, believe it or not.
I know. Nick Webb's started his
He's
career way
ancient.
too late. Yeah.
When did he start? When did he turn pro? Was it 2014?
2015.
Oh, he's been brought along very slow.
Yeah, I mean he was 27 when he turned pro, so he needs fights basically. He hasn't fought since February, so it's not good for Nick Webb at the moment.
He's never fought anyone, isn't he?
Agreed. So let's go back to this card for. There's one other fight I wanted to mention for the Frank Warren card. This guy called Lyndon Arthur, who's 10-0, light heavyweight prospect from Manchester. He's fighting Charles Adamu, who's 30-9. And so that's an interesting step up because Adamu's from Ghana and he's lost some fights, but he's lost to a guy who was 1-0. But he's also won some pretty big fights. So it's an interesting one. I think it's a good step up for this Lyndon Arthur guy. He should win, but it's not a straightforward, easy matchup. Lyndon Arthur's not really fought anyone in his career to date. Everyone he's fought has had a pretty losing record. So this is the first fight of a guy with a winning record. Hopefully it's a good matchup. Those are the main big fights on that card. So I was going to swiftly move us over to the Abner Mares Leo Santa Cruz card. Going to view the event. Big card, actually. Two very big fights on this card. Santa Cruz versus Abner Mares. I expect Santa Cruz to win this rematch. I'm not really sure it's a needed rematch. I think everybody would much rather see the Frampton trilogy.
Doesn't Abel Mares carry a belt currently? Is he the current champion? Is he the
yeah?
Or something like
he is the WBA World Featherweight Champion, and so the fight for the belt makes sense. But
regular champion versus the super champion.
I felt that Leo Santa Cruz dominated the first fight, really. Not dominated it, but won it convincingly enough. But this is going to make there just be one belt again in that division. So that is a good thing. I do like that. But I don't see any difference in the result. Do you think that Leo Santa Cruz is probably going to win again?
But easily. Is this their third fight or their second fight?
Their second fight, I believe.
I don't understand why they're doing a rematch. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it's an odd one. I mean, it's a big fight, and it's a big fight between two South American
when
guys.
When did they fought? Was it 2015 or 2016?
I believe it was 2015, yeah. And it was the end of 2015, so it was near 2016. One judge had it a draw, but the other two judges had it wide for Santa Cruz. Obviously, there was a bad cut for Mares, and there was a bad cut for Santa Cruz, so maybe they're hoping they can get a cleaner fight this time. I don't know. It's not a bad fight. It wasn't a bad fight the first time. I'll be happy to watch it. I just think, people are going to bother Leo Santa Cruz until he has that Frampton trilogy.
It's just strange. It's a strange move.
And then,
sorry,
you go.
3 times in 3 years.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's bad.
Good. Jamel Charlo, he is stepping up against Austin Trout, who his brother quite handily beat in the past, but it's still a good fight. Austin Trout's lost to the best guys, really. Lara, Sol Canelo Alvarez, Jarrett
His
Hurd,
best win was
and
Cotto.
Jamal
In
Charlo.
what year was that? 2011
It
or
was
something.
2012. 2012.
Jesus.
He also beat
He still get title
Devlin
shots.
Rodriguez. I mean, he's got some good wins, has Austin Trout. He's a very good fighter, but
yeah, but
that
his
loses
biggest wins
at
were
that
like
elite.
5 years ago. Well, like 5-6 years ago. Surely that shouldn't stand any test of time to this today.
I don't disagree, but he still has competitive fights against Jamal. He put in a good show against Jarrett, even though he lost. I don't really think I don't think it's a bad fight. I think it's Jamal's toughest fight yet.
Yeah, but Trout, let's be honest, he doesn't deserve this title shot. He's so undeserving of this title shot. It's ridiculous.
I don't know. I think Paul Butler constantly getting title shots is less deserving than Austin Trout.
I mean, Trout, I like Trout, but I just think this is, how old is he now? 35?
32?
But he's been around for so bloody long.
Yeah, he's been around a while. He started his career in 2005, so 13 years.
But so when he won that world title, Cotto was predicted to win easily. I remember watching that fight thinking,
yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's a bad fighter at all, Trout. I think
good fight.
Sure, his wins were a while ago, but he's also only ever lost to the very best fighters: Lara, Sol Alvarez, Jamal Charlo, and Jarrett Hurd. So I think Jamal will beat him, but I think it's a close fight.
But after this, surely he can't get any more title shots after this, surely.
Unless he wins it. If he wins it, he might. He could. I mean, he's not so bad that I think Jamal's a massive favourite. I think it's close fight. I make Jamal Charlo like a 60-40 favourite.
This Charlo is not as good as his brother.
That's exactly it. We don't know. If Charlo's as good as his brother, he'll beat Trout easily. If he's not, well, I mean, his brother didn't even beat Trout easily. It was still a close-ish fight.
How long ago was that? 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Jeez. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a good fight, good card, in my opinion, all round. Like, some of the lower down fights aren't great, but they're usually not put on TV anyway for American TV. So I'm happy. 2 big fights on that card. It's a good one, that is. And of course, we move on to what is probably the biggest fight of the weekend. I think that's fair to say.
Definitely,
Jeff Horn, Terence Crawford. I see this
is going to be a close one. I think this is going to be close.
Do you
think? I think Horn will lose, but I think it's not going to be straightforward for Crawford. You can call me an idiot for saying that, but I think Horn is better than people give him credit for.
I think he's more awkward than people give him credit for. But
he'll be awkward. I think I expect Horn.
But if I look
through what you say,
I don't.
Or would you think? I think he'll go to points.
I don't think Terence Crawford's going to keep him in there very long, in my personal opinion.
Think he'll not or no?
Yeah, I do, because he's so much faster than Horn. It's going to be interesting.
It's ridiculous.
I don't think it's a bad fight. I just think styles make fights, and I think Jeff Horn's style is kind of tailor-made for Crawford.
Yeah.
But Jeff Horn could come in and fight a completely different style.
You don't know. I mean, my perception is that people need to give Jeff Horn more credit than what he's been given.
Here's the problem, right? If you look through Terence Crawford's wins, Julius Ndongo, Felix Diaz, John Molina Jr., Victor Postol, Henry Lundy, Thomas Delorme, Raimundo Beltran, Gamboa, Ricky Burns, back when Ricky Burns was actually, and he schooled Ricky Burns, and Ricky Burns isn't bad. Bradis Prescott.
What year was that, Ricky Burns?
2014.
Jesus, is that long?
Yeah, so, I mean, when you're looking at it, Terence Crawford has fought the best in a few divisions.
Yeah.
And he's always come off the best. I personally think he's just got far too much for Horn. I don't think Horn's bad, but I
when you
just
look
think
at Horn's record, that Pacquiao fight kind of overshadows everything that Crawford's done, doesn't it? Really, if you want to be
100%. There's no one else on that record that comes close.
That's what I'm saying.
And
So
that's
Crawford,
why I predict Crawford's just got too much ring experience. He's been in there with too many top guys.
he'll win, but I just think it will be messy. Yeah, I think Horn's going to make it a horrible fight. Do you know what I mean? He's going to have to take it straight to Crawford. He's going to have to put him out of his comfort zone. He has to go straight after Crawford, and if he doesn't, he's going to get wiped out. You know, maybe that's a mistake going after him. You know, but he's going to have to do something. How tall is Crawford? 5'8", and how tall is Horn? Is he 6 foot? Horn
5'9". It's not a lot in it.
So there's nothing. So really,
Crawford has the reach.
if you were to pick Crawford to win, it would be within 7 or 8 rounds, wouldn't it? If not,
I'm predicting a late stoppage for Crawford, probably round 7, 8, 9.
I'm going to say unanimous decision to Crawford, based on what I know. It's hard to obviously.
It's a hard fight. Look, I hope Jeff Horn goes in there and he shocks the world again.
I
just don't think he will. That's kind of my personal take on it. I hope he does it. It would be great, but I don't see it.
If you watch the Gary Corcoran fight against Horn, he looked terrible. Corcoran was giving him trouble, and this guy's only a British level fighter. I couldn't believe it. Was it 11 rounds he knocked Corcoran out?
Yeah.
Shouldn't be have people like that lying around, should he? Really, at 11 rounds.
I mean, Gary Corcoran was undefeated. I don't think Corcoran was as bad as people think he is.
But he's definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, you just got to say, from the records that they've both got, Crawford has just got too much experience.
Crawford ranked in Britain about 8 in Britain. What? He's ranked about 7 in Britain. Gary
Corcoran, I'm not sure. It's a good question.
Just outside the top 8, I think. I'm not sure.
I'd have to go on him. He's actually ranked number 5.
No, see what I mean? A British number 5 should not be giving you trouble.
Well, Frankie Gavin's rated number 1, so I don't know what to make of this. Frankie Gavin, Josh Kelly, Bradley Skeet, who just got fucking plastered. Johnny Garton, who I don't really know much about. I should actually watch some more of Johnny Garton. He looks
friends with him on Facebook. He's a funny individual.
He seems like an all right chap. Gary Corcoran, Paddy Gallagher, Tyrone Nurse. You'd have to think Tyrone Nurse would probably beat Gary Corcoran. Probably.
Eventually, yeah.
Probably. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. And then, of course, you've got Conor Benn, number 11.
Really?
Oh, my God. Oh, dear. I do happen to feel...
By journeyman, yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
John Wayne Hibbert is number 14. And I think he'd probably beat Conor Benn.
But John's got some good wins, hasn't he, recently?
Yeah, he'd probably beat Conor Benn, you know.
Who did John Wayne Hibbert beat recently? Yeah, he had a big win.
I'm not quite sure, and I've just clicked off the page. You bastard. John Wayne Hibbert.
I swear he got 2 big wins recently.
Fuck's sake.
It's all right, leave it. We'll leave it.
Jeff Horn. If I click this one, and then I click Gary Corcoran. Oh shit, no, go back. View event. Oh, I've lost it all. Don't worry about it. I'll look up John Wayne Hibbert in a little bit. There was one other decent-ish fight on this card. There's 2, actually. Antonio Moran is fighting Jose Pedraza. We know a little bit about Pedraza. I believe he's
Yeah.
the guy that beat Stephen Smith.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's not a bad fighter,
Tank
Pedraza.
Davis Jr.
He
What's
did
that?
lose to Gervonta Davis, but that's
That's
no
it.
real crime or shame because Gervonta Davis is pretty fucking good. So it's an interesting little fight. That's sort of the winner of that might get a world title shot. Antonio Moran, Jose Pedraza. Then we've got Maxim Dadashev, who's a 10-0 Russian guy, fights out of America. He is fighting Darlis Perez, who we also know a little bit about from his fights against Anthony Crolla. So that's an interesting one. Obviously, Darlis Perez lost to Luke Campbell last time out in 2017, and he hasn't fought since. But it's not a bad little fight. That I expect Dadashev to win, but it's a good step up for him. Really, it's a good test. Good test. And so Shaka Stevenson and Jose Benavides are also on this card. Jose Benavides is fighting Frank Rojas, who's 22-0 from Venezuela. He's 31. He's not. No, I mean his last fight. He's 22-0, but he's beat guys that are like 1-2, 2-3, 0-3, 2-1. So it's a crazy record he has. It's 22-0, beating absolute nobodies, all in Venezuela. So yeah, Venezuela, Colombia. Yeah, not fights that we would ever be able to get access to. So you would have to think that Jose Benavides will wipe him the fuck out quite easily. And then we've got Shaka Stevenson, 6-0 featherweight. Pretty skillful. I've liked the fights I've seen of his so far.
He's a future star. He's been groomed to be a future star, isn't he?
For sure. He's fighting Elio Mesquita, who's 16-1. So it's quite a good step up for him. A tough fight. This Mesquita guy, he mostly has fought in South America, but he actually has some. Yeah, I mean, he's not really got a lot of wins here on his record that are notable, but it's not a bad fight. It's not a bad step up. You've got to step up these prospects slowly. And then there's a guy called David Kaminsky who's 1-0, and he's fighting Trevor Lavin, who's 1-0. And David Kaminsky's from Israel. Never heard of him before. Trevor Lavin is from USA. Never really heard of him before. But I always like to see guys who are 1-0 fight each other. I think it's an interesting thing. You never know what's going to happen. So, good cards. Good cards coming up this weekend. I'm excited for a lot of those fights, actually.
Before we go on, can I tell people about my argument with that idiot O'Hara Davis? I won't read the offensive comment.
You may. I would like to hear about it.
What happened he made a video about why people don't answer calls. To promoters to answer the calls to their fighters, and I put on Facebook, it's because you're a complete tool and nobody likes you. You piss that many people off. And then I went on his thingy on YouTube and said, "You already got your ass beat, M, and you know the rest." And he put with a smile, "You're still on my page," and I put, "Are you fucking stupid, man? I would love to kick your ass. You haven't got the guts to say it to my face, you pillock." Fuck you.
Nathan, why are you trying to get into real life fights with actual boxers?
I don't know, because O'Hara Davis just winds me up. He's an idiot. He already got his ass.
Let it slide off your back. I mean,
I will do.
He does.
He'd kill me one punch, I would. But
probably. He is quite small, and you're quite big, though. But he's not the smartest in terms of IQ.
That's what I'm saying. He's a dumbass. I ain't got time for him.
His common sense is not the best. I personally think he has Asperger's or autism of
Well, he's
some
got something
kind.
wrong with him, yeah. Definitely. He's not all that.
I personally think that because it comes across that he's very socially awkward and he just says stuff to say stuff sometimes. I've had a few friends like that in the past that just come out with wacky shit to be what they think is cool or entertaining, but it makes them just, a tool. What I would say is try not to get into too many cussing. What if one day this channel grows big and we want to have him on the channel, but he goes, fuck, no, I'm not coming on your channel. That's that guy that fucking...
He doesn't know who I really am because I'm friends with him on Facebook.
I know.
But he doesn't know I'm main event. So
I know. It's all good.
I'm going to try and wind him up a bit more.
Wind him up, but keep it civil. Keep it trolly. Keep it light-hearted. Don't fucking threaten to go and fight him. Jesus Christ.
Oh,
do you remember what
happened? Meet me so I can get it on camera.
Oh,
I can get it on camera. And
I remember there was some boxer who actually did that.
Curtis Woodhouse.
Yeah, that was it. Someone tweeted him and he was like, right, I'm coming around your fucking gaff. I'm going to knock on your door. So what I would say to our fans and listeners is don't be like Nathan. Don't call out boxers on the internet. They might actually come and fucking tear your head off at your front door in front of
I don't think O'Hara Davis will be able to find Northampton, do you?
Oh my God, that's throwing out the bants. To be fair, I reckon he could find Milton Keynes, so you might have to meet him there.
That's as far as his brain could stretch. Yeah.
Oh dear, yeah, you've got to hop on a connecting train for Northampton. That's far too much.
That'd be too much for his brain to handle. Anyway,
right, let's stop slating boxers. Dillian Whyte faces daunting trip to Bulgaria for less than 300k if he accepts the Pulev fight, and now we all know why. Pulev is this fucking untouchable cunt who gets to sit at the top of the rankings because he's a fucking joker. It's unbelievable. We keep getting these mandatory shots and no one wants to fight him because he wins the purse bid and offers you fuck all money for a fight in Bulgaria. No wonder he keeps getting to keep his ranking because nobody will accept this fight. And nobody should accept this fight. It's a fucking joke.
No, it's bollocks. It's all bollocks. Eddie Hearn should pull the plug on this straight away.
No, what will happen is Eddie Hearn will pay Dillian Whyte like an extra £200,000 to do it.
Yeah.
Out of Eddie's own pocket.
I think he should just pull the plug on the fight. Forget it.
No, I think it's a good fight. I just think the money's so piss poor.
That's what I'm saying.
Eddie Hearn's going to have to... Move. It's not really, though. Because what's going to happen is if they don't take this fight, right? What's going to happen is they'll get moved back down the rankings of the IBF to 10, and Kubrat Pulev will just get to fight someone else.
Yeah, but Pulev never seems, even if he did beat White, he wouldn't want the fight with Joshua. He's pulled out enough times a big fight.
I know, it's so fucking frustrating. I agree. I personally think they might have to consider fighting Ortiz instead for that WBC #1.
No, that's even more dangerous.
It's more dangerous, but it's more dangerous, but there's probably $2 or $3 million in it for White.
If I was White, I'd bide my time a bit more because I think
you can't.
He should be the #1 contender for the IBF.
You're not understanding this. If he doesn't take this IBF fight now, they will move him back down to number 10 and make Pulev against someone else. And so he cannot really afford to do that. He's worked so hard to get to #1 that once you're there, you have to strike, really.
But if he goes to Bulgaria, he's going to have to knock Pulev out to get a decision. You know that as well as I do. He's going to have to knock him out.
I think he can beat Pulev convincingly on points, but I also think he can.
Not in Bulgaria. No way.
I think he can do it. I also think he can knock Pulev out as well.
He's good enough to knock. I think what will happen is if Pulev fights him, as soon as White gets on the inside, he'll grab him because Pulev doesn't like to go toe to toe with people, does he? So as soon as it becomes a fight, that's where he'll lose. So there's no way he can't let White get on the inside of him too quickly. He has to keep the fight at range. If he keeps the fight on the jab on the range, he'll beat White easily. But if White gets on the inside of him, it's game over. Would you agree?
Yes and no. I just think Pulev's too slow for both styles. I think White could beat him from the outside, and I think White could beat him on the inside. Because I think
but
5 years ago, 4 years ago, yeah, I think Pulev would have won on the outside. Easily. But now I think White has shown he's learned how to box from long to mid range. He's a lot better than he used to be, and so I think he probably
Pulev has aged horribly, hasn't he? Really?
Yeah, he doesn't fight enough either.
He's aged. He's aged. He's definitely aged in that.
And he doesn't fight often enough, Pulev, either. So
fight good people. Kevin Johnson couldn't even knock an old Kevin Johnson.
Yes. So yeah, that's an interesting one. I think they should still take the fight, and Eddie Hearn should top up his purse. But
300 grand is insulting, isn't it, to a guy who's knocked out a world-rated fighter like Lucas Bratton? It's insulting.
It is, but bro,
the rewards are too great.
Sports, listen. Epic Sports laid down $1.5 million. Eddie Hearn only put down 830 grand.
Yeah.
And so White would have only got 25% of 830 grand. It would have been pennies if Hearn had won.
Winning a purse, it's weird. They're big fighters.
It's not unheard of. It is unusual, I agree. But it makes sense because they obviously know that they can make a lot of money putting the fight on in Bulgaria. So a lot of gates.
Most of the purse, which is crazy.
No, that's the rules. The IBF rules are the mandatory challenger only gets 25%.
Yeah. So basically, White has to go over there and knock this guy out, and he has to do it convincingly. He has to beat.
Yeah, it's starting to sound like a shit job, isn't it? You've got to go over to Bulgaria for fuck all money and beat a guy at least 8-4 or knock him out. Yeah, it's not fun. I would say that Ortiz fight for a couple of million is worth.
It's probably better, isn't it? Really,
a much better option.
I think they should pull out of this fight and just fight Ortiz or Sharp.
I think Ortiz is the way to go. If they win that fight, they're mandatory for Deontay Wilder, and he'll get paid good money for fighting Ortiz. It's probably the best.
If he loses to Ortiz, his stock doesn't drop. But if he fights Pulev, his stock drops slightly, doesn't it? You've got to be honest.
If he loses to Ortiz after what Wilder did to him, his stock would drop a bit, but not as much. So I agree. Ortiz is a less risk at this point in terms of money, career moves. I would go if he had to fight Ortiz in Cuba for 300 grand, I'd say fuck that too.
But losing to Ortiz looks better on the record than losing to Pulev, doesn't it, at this point?
Sure, I don't think he loses to either though. I think he's better than both of them at this point. I think Ortiz is too old. Yeah. Good fights, but
Pulev.
Good fight.
Bulgarian, thank God.
Deontay Wilder says Anthony Joshua will happen possibly September in the UK. So what's happened is, and I knew this would happen, all the talk of Anthony Joshua fighting in America has completely died down because it's impossible. He has drug charges from former years.
Years ago.
And so the American government will never, ever let him in to the United States anyway.
That's not true. He was in the game in America recently.
What? Yeah, that's really weird. He shouldn't be allowed. Like, I don't understand why he's allowed, but there's other people that aren't. I know he's in America right now, but I'd be surprised if they let him come and do business. Like, I don't know. But from what I understand, they're usually really fucking strict. It didn't matter for Mike Tyson when he tried to travel to New Zealand. They banned him anyway. If
Yeah.
you've got drug or other charges like that, a lot of countries won't let you in, no matter who you are. So it is interesting. I'm happy that he is in America. That is actually true. It does disprove my point a little bit. Um, but yeah, I think the fight is more likely to take place in the UK because if you can sell out a 90,000 seat stadium, why wouldn't you?
Fighting in America, it makes no sense for me. The money's over here for this fight.
Well, the pay-per-view money is in England for sure. We don't even know if Wilder could sell a pay-per-view. He's never done it before.
In
The
this country, I
ticket
don't think you would.
sales, you have to imagine you can get more packing out Wembley 90,000 than you can packing out 17 or 20,000 in Las
Madison
Vegas.
Square Garden.
Yeah, it's an interesting one though because you can charge $10,000 for tickets in the US for ringside, so it kind of sometimes levels out. All of the top gate receipts are US shows because of Las Vegas, but I would say that, you know, the fight makes so much more sense in the UK to me.
It does.
Uh, but
I
of
mean,
course, I'm hearing that Povetkin is pretty much a
yeah,
done deal for Anthony
which is a
Joshua.
fight I don't really want to see. I have to be honest, this fight I don't really want to see. Joshua wipes him out in that 8 or 9 round.
I think 5 or 6 rounds personally because of what
Povetkin's
Price wobbled
a
him hard.
He's a good fighter, but he's fading. Yeah,
Yeah.
what he was.
The problem is Povetkin is the IBF mandatory, so even if I don't want to see it, I can't complain too much. If he gets that mandatory out of the way, it's not a bad thing.
But if you're getting rocked by David Price, then you've got issues.
Well,
Really,
David
I'm not.
Price is the heaviest hitting heavyweight in the division still to this day. But
Yeah,
yes,
but
you shouldn't be getting
if
caught
you
so
get
easily.
knocked
I
out on your
agree.
feet by him, you've got problems.
Yeah.
I like Price; he's a good fighter, but
Well, he's
domestic level guys should not be nearly dropping.
No, I agree. But it's an interesting one. Eddie Hearn sets 2-week deadline to wrap up Joshua Wilder talks. That came out from the Daily Mail 20 hours ago. Apparently, he set a 14-day deadline. Anthony Joshua has been offered 37 million to fight in America, but he wants it in Britain. A September date at 5 huge stadiums in Britain are all under discussion. Joshua will switch focus to Alexander Povetkin if the talks with Wilder collapse. So yeah, it's interesting. Wilder has 2 weeks to come to the table and talk about this realistically. Otherwise, they're going to have to take the IBF mandatory, I think.
I mean, there's no way Joshua would drop that belt, is there? Really?
Possibly, if Povetkin won the purse bid and wanted Joshua to come and fight in Russia.
I don't think he should. I think that's a bad move.
I think it's a terrible move because we're basically in a cold war with Russia right now. So sending our national hero to fight on their shores is not a good idea. So I think there is a possibility. It kind of would be pretty shitty because he's Wilder's belt away from all 4, and so he would then have to become mandatory for Povetkin, drag Povetkin over, win the purse bid, drag Povetkin to UK shores just to get his belt back. So it would kind of be a bit shit. No, it's a bit shit. It's a bit shit. But here's the thing: if Povetkin,
definitely.
No, not necessarily. Rybinski's got a lot of fucking money, and it's not so straightforward with Povetkin to win a purse bid.
Povetkin doesn't deserve the title shot anyway. He's a drug cheat. He doesn't deserve it.
I agree wholeheartedly, but it is what it is. He's number 1 in the IBF, so can't change it. Let's move on to our final piece of news. A great piece of news. A happy piece of news. Sometimes we're a bit too negative in boxing. We get a bit too pessimistic. Groves versus Smith. WBA Super World title and WBC Diamond Belt Ali Trophy confirmed. Thank God, eh?
I'm happy about that.
Yeah, thank God. There had been desire from.
He doesn't deserve it.
100%, and it would have ruined the tournament. I think they listened to fans. I think they were going to change it, but they saw the fan backlash and thought, we can't do it. There had been desire from Cosmoa AG, who are the people who run the tournament, to complete the competition by late July, but after boardroom discussions and consulting public demand, it has been decided to postpone the final further, as the nature of injuries, especially the type of injury that George suffered, getting an exact recovery date is nearly impossible. We have been clear that the tournament has to finish within a certain time frame, but we also realise that Groves versus Smith is the most ideal final. 100% true. By pushing the final back as far as we can, we are giving fans the biggest chance of seeing this incredible matchup. Yep, all of that's true. I'm glad they saw sense. Big props to the World Boxing Super Series for understanding that that was the right way to do this.
Why they thought any of the decision would be a good decision is retarded anyway. Yeah.
Well, I can understand the logic in a small sense. They didn't want the second season to start before the first season had finished, and they didn't want what happened with the first Super Six series to happen again. But I feel like if that was the case, they really should have got someone like Benavidez or De Hale to replace Groves.
Yeah.
I think a lot less people would have complained if it was another champion. But I'm much more happy to see Groves versus Smith. It's a huge pay-per-view fight. I think it's going to sell really well. I think Groves nicks it.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
I just think that Smith is a little too fresh for Groves. I think Groves has had a tough career. I don't know. It's going to be close. It's going to be very close.
It is going to be close. I think you could be right on all of that. The one factor I would say is Smith does not look fresh at 168 anymore.
No, he doesn't. He looks like a light heavyweight.
He looks drained. And so it's two very big 168s who could both be a bit drained. I think it's going to be interesting, like you say, but I'm leaning Groves just at the moment, just.
Okay, I'd have to with experience level when you add it up, I'll have to be honest, and it would be Groves. Only just.
Just. It's close. It is close. You're right.
But not George Groves, Callum Smith is the sort of fight I look at him and think he should already be a world champion. That's how much I rate him.
He's had some bad luck, my friend. He was the mandatory for one belt for fucking a year, and then this tournament came along, and then it all just went tits up. But finally, he's getting his world title shot. So,
well, I think this is his big chance to finally get that belt that's eluded him for the last year and a half to 2 years. You know, I think it's his big chance. I think his time is now.
It could well be. I think the winner of this fight will stay at 168 and defend against probably James De Hale. But the loser of this fight will definitely move up to 175. Definitely.
But James De Hale's finished anyway. Really, isn't
he is, and that's why that's an easy unification. People will see that as an easy unification at the moment. So, yeah, I think it's still a Groves De Hale rematch is still massive in the UK. It
is, but how long has it been? 8 years, hasn't it?
I know, but even if De Hale is shot, it's still a unification fight between both of them, and that's huge. So
it's a £2 million fight, isn't it?
More. I think it's about 5, 6, something like that. Yeah, it's a pay-per-view for sure. Groves De Hale, definitely.
Why didn't De Hale enter this tournament? I never understood.
He was injured, wasn't he? He had the injury from the whole, and then he came back just as the tournament was basically finishing. So he was unlucky with that a little bit. I think he would have entered.
Groves needs to win this so he can get that unfinished business with the gap out of the way, putting the nail in the coffin final. Yeah, I think it would be a great fight for British boxing fans. Can you imagine a Groves De Hale Khan Brook pay-per-view? Oh my god! That'd be great.
All of or it could be called like I don't know, settling the score or something like that. Do you know, like Oh,
8 years in the making.
8 years and something like that. It would be great. So let's hope. Let's hope. We hope for a good final. Hope Groves does recover and has no more setbacks in training
But do you
camp.
find
No more
it weird
injuries.
how Groves and De Gea have both won world titles in the last like 2 or 3 years, and yet now they're both like nearly both shot, both of them. It's crazy, isn't it?
I think Groves looks less shot at the moment. I think Shane has really turned his career around. If you look at what Groves' performance under Shane, his last few have just been the George Groves of old, and so you'd have to say Groves looks fresher than De Gea currently, for sure.
Groves deserves to win this tournament because of everything he's been through in the last 10 years.
Sure, but boxing doesn't always work on what you want, on what you wish. There was one more card I very quickly wanted to touch on that we didn't mention. Big card from York Hall. Luke Watkins, Lawrence Okoli. Huge fight that. I actually am picking Luke Watkins to win that fight. Reece Bellotti.
We bet against.
I betted against Okoli last time, but I'm betting against him again because he didn't show me anything in the Chamberlain fight. He didn't show me that his boxing skills had improved. And I think Luke Watkins, he's got the basics down right. And I think Lawrence Okoli makes mistakes. And Luke Watkins could punish those mistakes. I think it's a good fight.
To win this fight. But we'll probably be wrong. I hope we're not wrong on this.
Look, to be honest with you, it's a very close fight. I'm picking Watkins, but I'm picking him only just. Lawrence Okoli could still knock him out. He has got power. I just think Luke Watkins is more experienced and more well-rounded as a fighter.
I'm not sold, Okoli.
That's really my point. He looks like a knockout waiting to happen every time he's in the ring. He carries his head so high, his chin so high when he throws combos. And Luke Watkins could punish that. Reece Bellotti versus Ryan Doyle. Good fight for the Commonwealth Feather title. Ted Cheeseman versus Paul Upton. Super welterweight fight. Massive fight that. Both guys, you think the winner of that is going to go on to big things, really. And the loser's going to have to rebuild a little bit. And then Felix Cash versus TBC and Dania Yelusinov versus TBC. But yes, a good little card, especially for a York Hall show. That might be the best show that's been put on in York Hall for a long time.
It's part of the next generation, is it?
Oh. Yeah, it is a next gen show, yeah.
Oh, my dear. This is the best one in a long time.
It's the best next gen show they've done, I think, for sure, yeah.
Do you think the next gen shows have kind of flopped a little bit? Because I've kind of been disappointed with it. Some of them.
I like them. They might have flopped in terms of popular appeal, but they're more for the boxing hardcore fans to see these guys get built. I think they're great. Like, I think this one will do really well. Yeah. Watkins and Coley.
Cheeseman's on the card as well.
Cheeseman, Upton, yeah. I think this one will do really well.
I'm a big fan of Cheeseman.
He's a good fighter. He's a good fighter.
Why is he not being stepped up a little bit more after his Carson Jones win? How easily dealt with?
This is kind of this isn't a step up, but it's not a step down. Upton is, I think he's undefeated.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It's kind of frustrating to watch.
Yeah, Paul Upton's 15-0, and yeah, it's not really a step down. I think this is a good progression fight, a good domestic clash for Cheeseman. He wins this, you can easily put him in British title fights, maybe even European
Cheeseman
fights.
Is past British level now, wouldn't you say? Just about.
You can be past British level, but it doesn't necessarily mean. I mean, he's already had the British title. He had the BBFC. He had the English super welterweight title. I think you can be past it, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't win the belt. I think Ted Cheeseman.
Win the European belt now. He's good.
He could do, but there's some big fights out there for Cheeseman still. You've got the likes of Sam Eggington.
What's his name? Sam Eggington. Sam
That'd be a
Eggington
good
movie.
fight, yeah. So, I mean, he could fight Sam Eggington, but like you say, Eggington's 154 now.
Yeah.
Cheeseman's 154 now too, though.
So it could be
Cheeseman's,
made. You know, a good
yeah,
fight.
it could be, yeah. So this fight against Upton is actually for the WBA International Super Welterweight title. So interesting fight, good card at York Hall. That one, very interesting. So yeah, we'll have to probably wrap it up there, man. I've got some stuff to do today, but
Okay.
I messed up the title of this video, so I'll go and change that. But yeah,
Good
peace out,
podcast,
everyone.
isn't it?
Yeah, it was a good one today. We covered everything. Some good fights happening in a couple of weeks. We probably might end up skipping next week's podcast and doing something a little bit different because I'm looking at Box Rec here, and Saturday the 2nd, there's Kevin Larina versus Roman Golovchenko and Robin Krasinski versus Stanislav Kashtanov. And so it's not really the most exciting.
I think we'll have a week off next week. Yeah, solid.
I think that's the way forward, man. But yeah, we'll catch everybody in 2 weeks. We'll probably do something in the meantime. Yeah, catch you all soon. Peace out.
Bye, people.